So we have birdie. Okay, guns up, triple. You and me both need to lose some weight, sister. Oh, you're good. Let me get out of the way of the camera here. Okay, remember, you're going to signal, and I will give you a number. Yep, I'm ready when you are. 42. So dog breaks, the correction is on sit. Enforce the command they disobeyed. Not here, not heel, not hey, sit. S-I-T. Oh, he's going to secondary select. I love it. He's going for the middle bird is what I'm talking about. It certainly looks like he's going to. She's got a good look in there. She liked it. She broke on it. I want to make sure you understand what I mean by secondary selection, if that's a term. That selection is any time the handler is dictating what bird the dog goes for instead of letting the dog choose. But this is classic secondary selection, where you make him get a shorter bird underneath a longer, more attractive bird. And in field trials, usually that gun's hit out and this gun's retired. But kind of the way it is here, isn't it? She did a nice job on it, didn't she? You do it for different reasons. Some are for, it's a better way to do the test. Some of it's just teamwork and control, but she seems to totally understand what it is we're asking her to do. A nice hunt, nice mark. That should get you a bird. Okay, Connor, go ahead and plant the blind. You may want to just receive in the holding blind. Oh yeah, you can, and I can release you, but you can stay as long as you want. And
no, I was doing something a little bit different with her in that situation, where I was, hey, here.
You got a live bird. You can hand that to me here, and I can. You want me to take it? And dispatch it. Okay, you said now you were doing something a little different.
Well, I was rotating around her. I usually don't do that, so I think that's why she took off on that. You know, I was taking delays, and I would do that in training, but not in the test, where I stepped in front of her.
Can I call bullshit on you?
What's that?
Can I call bullshit on you? I think she needs to sit. I mean, she may have taken off, but don't make an excuse for her taking off before you send her. Yeah. I mean, I loved what she did in the test.
Yeah, didn't look like she was creeping. I think she moved when I moved.
But she shouldn't.
You're right.
And here's the other thing. The one thing that I put a hand down on the go bird, not for anything other than a braking factor. I don't like, you know, and my hand the hand comes in to create a sequence of events that lead up to being sent. Yeah. So it's a steadying practice. Yeah. It's not anything else. And so when you just say, you know, when the bird hits the ground, you go, birdie, she's waiting for that first word. She's like, there are more on a hair trigger. Yeah. So I put the hand in because my hand comes in, I delay 2 count, and then I send out of a stationary hand for that very reason. Okay. So then there's no excuse for them taking off. All right, you're on your own. Send from the mat. There are no lateral restrictions on handling. You can move wherever you need to move. You're going to want to know what the judge's expectations are. I wonder why our flyer gun's standing. Might be cold.
Good. Back!
Ah, you are going to use a back. This is a good blind. This is tricky.
Back!
Okay. Go ahead. Did you make any corrections with the collar? And where was it?
I gave her, when she was in front of this bush,
Uh-huh.
after she had went up the hill twice, I gave her a nick.
Okay.
Heel.
Uh,
Sit.
I was wondering because you'd gone silent, silent, silent.
Sit. And I gave her on my next cast, I gave her the problem was her positioning. She was sitting just on the edge of that, in front of that green greasewood, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I gave her a right straight back.
Which is what you had to give there.
Yeah, and I would have liked to have given her a left back, right, to make her turn away from the way that she wanted to go. She wanted to go around that bend out of sight into danger. I wanted her to go into the flat.
Yep.
But I couldn't get her positioned perfectly.
Okay.
To where I could give her a left, so I gave her a voice to try to tell her, no, I want you to go back.
I agree with the verbal, right?
I don't want you to go over. And I knew that I may, and that's what ended up happening, is she actually, the voice pushed her back and to the right a little bit.
You want my thoughts of that?
What's that?
Would you like my thoughts?
Yes.
I agreed with your verbal.
Yeah.
The problem wasn't the cast. The problem was you were slow on the whistle after the cast.
Oh.
You let her get too far right. You could, like when I gave the right hand verbal, which is exactly what you should have given, I would have blown when she got dead on line to the blind.
Yeah.
You waited too long. You let her get it to the right.
Yeah.
You could have. You had time to stop her.
Yeah.
Then I would have given a left silent.
Yeah. I see.
Okay. So I think it was your slow whistle more than the cast.
Okay.
That's my opinion. One other question.
Yeah.
You went to really big lateral cast immediately. You're almost on line and you gave a left silent over. Is that the way you always handle? Or were you just trying to run this blind to be safe?
No,
You understand what I'm saying? You understand my question?
I would say I probably primarily give angle backs more than I give direct overs, but it just depends on the terrain. If I have a certain channel that I wanted her to get in, like I wanted her to go on the right side of that bush,
Yep.
right? And initially my very first whistle was right here,
I loved it.
and I gave her a direct over because she had the greasewood. If I gave her an angle back, she may go on the right side of that greasewood, and I wanted her on the left side on the very first
Yep,
one.
I see the one just as they come out of the flat. I guess my comment would be, I'd like to teach them to take literal casts. There's a real value in that.
Yeah.
Now, on game day, I'm going to do what I need to do to get through the blind.
Yeah.
But I just needed to ask you, like, all right, I would have said, I want to give her an angle back and teach her to take an angle back there,
Yeah.
even though I know she doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Because if I give her an over and she gives me an angle back, she really isn't given the cast I gave her either.
Yeah.
So I like, let's teach them to cast literally. Let's teach them at that instance, if she goes to the right of that first greasewood, you stop her right when she gets past it, and you still have plenty of time to get the next one.
Yeah.
And I'd say, like, now you're going to yield on a left-handed cast.
Yeah.
Now, if it got messy and I corrected and she's totally confused, I'd go to an over. But I would not have given an over on my first cast.
Yeah.
And the only other thing, that comment, I loved your whistle timing.
Yeah.
I thought it was spot on, other than the one that after the right-hand verbal.
Yeah.
You gave a silent. You got to the left a little bit,
Yeah.
and you gave a right-handed cast, and you gave a silent.
Yeah.
And I thought, ooh, that needed to be voiced because you got too much to the right. And I thought, well, maybe this guy doesn't use verbals at all until you did. And I said, oh, okay. And when you use the verbal later and you got her out in the flat, it helped you. She got in there and got honey. You're going to get, bringing a bird back through, there's going to be drag back in there. Dogs are going to probably want to hunt that point.
Yeah.
So, no, all good stuff. I mean, I enjoyed it, enjoyed watching it. She looked cool.
Just, Pat,
Yeah.
just so you know, we had a test here last week, and right there where that bush was,
Am I in a bad spot for you? Okay. $12. No, don't be. I held his number because he wanted to move. I didn't want to just. Which is fine. I mean, that's he went for more look on, and usually when you get those short birds like that, the best place to be is under the arc of the bird. But you get, the dogs, they're going to get lots of different information. I use information. Scent is one, bird scent is one of it, but human scent and dog foot scent are the other things. So that's where the majority of that is. And if getting them to check down and break down in that bird is difficult, being between the bird and the gun is usually a better place to be. So I do want to ask, I want you guys to tell me, is this typical training manners, or is this more trial weekend behavior? Because he moved, made a little noise, or is that just some dogs just train? They're the same every day.
he's quiet in training. And then when I run the field trial,
How? Right. Is this more like he is on a field trial? Okay. You may want to receive in the holding blind, just so we can get the blind planted. And if you want to address that, don't be afraid to address it. I mean, that's why you're here. I mean, now, is that horrible behavior? No, but it would concern me a little bit. I'd say, like, wait a minute, I don't want it to get away from me.
did that in training, I wouldn't send him for the bird. I wouldn't let him have it. That
Well, I would have corrected him when he moved forward. The minute that flyer went off, he did that. So I'd have corrected him on sit right there. And, so I just would have corrected him in the act of the initial movement forward. And I would have corrected him on sit. And if he was bad about it, I might have picked the bird up and not sent him for it and had him rethrow it. And said, all right, it's more important that I deal with this than, because, he nailed the test. Don't get in the habit of saying, well, I don't want to correct this because I want to see how they do on the test. That's a bad pattern to get into. And if you want to clean some of that line manners up, not denying the bird and correcting is a good way to do it. All right, let's run the blind. I get a real advanced dog. I shoot that flyer and they're a jerk. I heel them back and I make them pick up the blind first. I do it as a poison bird. Then I throw the other two. I got to have a dog that he's advanced enough to do that with, but I would certainly consider it. Or I'll put a blind way over here and I'll just say, as an emergency blind, and say, if they're a real jerk on the marks, I'm going to turn into a blind. Said, you're not going to get that mark until you behave. Only problem, because that blind's not planted, it might not have been practical. He's got a good stop, pretty good, darn good. Quick stop. Well, it was excellent, but we're going to do harder shit with you. I can tell you right now. I ain't watching that. This dog. I'm going to tighten up the screws a little bit. Good, nice, really nice. But so you didn't send with a hand on the blind. Is that typical? You get a good look and you go with it?
I did. I probably should though. If there's something.
Well, I don't know. I'm just curious. I noticed it. Said, But you know what? You got a great initial line. The first whistle you blew, he stopped really sharply. He gave you a pretty good cast there. The whistle near the blind, again, in Judge's book, excellent blind. In my book, I'm going to say, got to watch the endings. He's he's super confident on his marks, great momentum on the blind, good stop. How's he, at the end of a really hard blind, does he get away from you ever? Does he get sloppy on his stops? I'm going to be looking, right. So, whatever. Those are just, I don't know the answer to that, but those are the questions I'm going to start to ask, because he's certainly a high quality dog. That's an easy call, but don't let the quality get away from you.
So I put on a blind if there's like a log or something jumped over or water to go through something technical, then I put it down and kind of like, hey, we got something big.
Right.
Should I do it every time? Is that what?
Not necessarily. I noticed it. I guess sometimes when I put a hand down, I want him to know I'm here. that I'm the one with the steering wheel, you're in the passenger seat, let's get that straight. So, it sometimes makes him more aware of me, but what I witnessed, other than just that one little stop at the end that made me go, let's see how this goes. If this blind was 350 yards and there was some drag back and, he hit the blind planter trail, how's he going to be there? I don't know, but I'm going to find out before the weekend's up. Do you guys know, and how long were you in the Canine Division of Law Enforcement?
10 years.
Did you guys know? Maybe everybody knows that, but you shared that with me.
Yeah.
How has that helped you with this?
When you go through Canine Academy, just like Police Academy, Canine thing, you spend, it's roughly 6 weeks. The first 2 weeks is nothing but book work, and it's canine psychology, learning how to talk like a dog or think like a dog, and it's all based around pack mentality.
How has that affected your training of retrievers? Has it made you a better trainer?
For for sure.
Okay. How could it not, right?
It helps you figure out what they're thinking and how you get around it. Think like a dog, more or less. So.
We all got to do that. I mean, you really have to look at it that way. Well, that's good stuff. You know, you talk about Fox and Lauren Hayes. Lauren is a animal behaviorist. I mean, that is her job. And when I met her, you know, and she told me about it, I said, well, I mean, it's going to help you. I mean, if you can understand what's motivating behavior, then you've got a leg up on what to do to change it or reward it, depending on whether you like it or not. Good stuff. Excellent. Okay. Are we going to do a triple?
Triple, and he's at a flex and a lean.
Oh, flex. Okay. Okay, triple, guys. Guns up. Some reason this one's given more feedback. There's some. That's a new mic system that I have, and I'm sure there's some settings on that mic that would help that, but I need my audio-visual department to manage that. Okay, guns are up. Dog to line.
Deal. Easy.
Sit. Sit.
I'm getting great flyers. This is awesome. I'm holding your number for a second. 22.
Deal. Here. Easy.
He looks like Flex. I mean, he's got that body build that I've seen. Boy, he's having another incredible year, I guess. Certainly this Dodge Sire is one of the top dogs in this generation. He was High Point amateur dog last year, and I've seen a lot of good stuff out of his puppies. Now, that was a strange thing. Totally out of character?
Yeah.
Because he certainly wouldn't. I mean, why would the dog pop right there for a second? And he did it again. But you said yeah in a way that maybe it wasn't really yeah. Did you sense that too? Like, yeah. Huh. I mean, you watched him online, it was like, just say my name, I know where it is. The first one, like, was something funny happened there. Was there I wonder if there's a bird sitting there that he's planting a blind with, because he went to reach for something, and then when he stood up, that's when he came in. Okay, you let me know if you want any gun. I mean, I have a radio here if you need any gunner help, but there he goes.
Get it right there.
Connor, stand up. Connor, just stand. Okay, never mind. There he comes. I just don't want him to get that short bird. You hear me, Connor? Oh. God, I think he's right behind it, isn't he? It's a little longer bird, but I think he's right near it. Did it land right in that bush, maybe? See, this is where I'm going to ask Connor, like, tell me what went on there. Why did, what do you, because there was some peculiar behavior here. And even now he's a little bit, he's not popping, but he's not as, God, I think he's right at the bird. I wonder if it landed right in that bush.
It did. He should get it. That one should get it out.
He still doesn't have it. I'm going to ask. Tell me what's going on, Connor. How come he can't come up with this bird? Is it in a funny place?
No, he's on a little further back and he's getting some of the old scent from the other birds.
Oh, so this bird's a little more left than the other one's, a little flatter? Okay. So this bird's a little flatter than the other ones, another more of a straight over.
20 yards closer to you guys than the other ones.
Oh, so it's in a little bit. Yeah, that wasn't, I could tell it was longer, but it was longer because it, ooh, be careful. Connor, let's make sure this dog gets the bird. Help him if you have to. Help him. I don't want him to get that short bird. I hope you're okay with that, but after 2 pops, and it'd be real unfortunate for him to end up with that. Walk out if you have to a little bit. Kind of guide him into that bird. He needs to pick the bird up now. Is he used to being helped or not really?
No.
Okay, because he acts like he's a little bit. To me, this is the time to like, all right, I'm not quite sure what's happening.
Neither am I.
That bird was, I mean, he said it. He's been shooting an angle back. This one, I think, went more left and 90 degrees. And he said he was hunting where the other falls were, which happens all the time. Flyers don't go in the same place. So now you got to ask yourself, all right, do we just send for this bird cold? In other words, without the gunner, do you bring the gun out or do you just talk him in there? I mean, this dog doesn't give you any appearance of lack of confidence. But it would be real easy to not know what's going on. You pushed him a little bit, right? Because he got that old fall. He didn't go, he went through it.
Yeah, that was on me.
But he made a pretty sporty decision based on where you sent him. No, I mean, he went through there and he went like, yeah, I smell where this bird was, but I'm not supposed to be here. And he went, and then he figured it out. I mean, we'll have to ask the dog when he's done what he was thinking. But I wonder, like, what he did on that flyer, not his difficulty in finding it, the 2 pops, like what? Now I saw, like, when he came right up to the crate, and you see Connor kind of stood up for a second, and then that's when he came in. I wondered if there was a bird. I don't know, are his birds, dead birds for the blind, in a bird bag, or are they sitting loose?
There's a bag. I wondered, my thought was, when the dog popped the first time was, did they hear us talking on the
Well, I know.
because the dog kind of turned around.
Absolutely.
Say something.
Could be a bird. I mean, it could be like anything. All right, we're ready for you. That's why maybe you just, if it's not a typical pattern of behavior, then make note of it. No, don't stress about it. Because he certainly didn't look like a dog that was about to pop.
Back.
Lots of momentum on the blind.
Back.
I agree.
Back.
Be careful. All right, couple questions for you. Couple of the early whistles, he turned around but didn't sit. Is that typical? A. B, he autocasted a couple times. He took off before you moved, autocasted down a couple times. The first 2 casts were gorgeous. You know, you gave a right-hand silent, boom, he changed direction. You gave a left-hand silent, he kicked out of there. Like, he was really, you know, cooperative on his first couple casts. Then he got in near the flyer and wanted to hunt the backside of the flyer gun. I mean, if I'm making notes, I'm noting he didn't sit down on. Now, some dogs don't like to sit in water,
In the water.
so maybe that was it. I guess those are my noteworthy
he won't
things.
sit in the mud.
Okay, so that was it. All right.
I mean,
I get it.
I could have fought him.
I'm not saying you should have. I just wanted to ask you the question. Was that his? But then when he got out there further, he did sit. I thought, well, maybe this dog never sits, but he did sit at later on. His stopping mechanics got a little bit shaky when he wanted to hunt the backside of the flyer, but I get it. He popped in the flyer. Do you want to be correcting him in the area that he had? But you did one time, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, he probably needed it.
When he backsided it,
And
he
then-
went back, so he obviously went around it. I'm like, no.
No, he just, right. His body language changed when he got just to the right of the flyer. You could tell he says, I'm looking for a duck now. It's why I like to, you know, I see Ray at Vote and I talked about that Master National. The one thing, it was Andy Attar and I. The only thing is, some of their blinds were actually almost at the point where dogs would want to hunt. They didn't, not that they needed to be 200 yards, but I like to have them so they don't, that dog, when he got the blind, he had given up on hunting the flyer. And I'd hate for him to find the blind when he's still hunting the flyer. Does that make sense?
100%.
To make him like, no, we're doing a blind. And then get the blind. You know, so have it be enough longer than the retrieve and separated so they're responding to you telling them where to go instead of them hunting the flyer again and then just finding a bird. So and this test was not uncommon with what you did in the Master National. That was the theme right here, the whole deal. The out of order flyer, the
This
short
would've been
key.
where's Lee at? He was there. But this would have been a very common.
Theme in the first series of that Master National in Georgia. But I still like to do that. I like to shoot my flyers as memory birds as much as possible. So, okay, good.
Pat, I have a question.
Yeah.
When we talk about gunners helping on a mark,
Uh-huh.
a couple different ways they can help, right? Like here we had them walk toward it.
Great
They can
question.
throw another bird. They can call, duck call if they're far away. What's
Yep.
the benefit?
Sometimes just standing up.
Right.
There was a real specific way, I'm going to answer your question, but I'm also going to talk a little bit about that Rex taught us how to help a dog on a mark. The best way to do it, if you got a skilled somebody in the field, and if I say help or walk, I in the field want to read the dog's behavior, where they want to hunt. And I want to move contrary to where they want to hunt. I don't want to walk directly at the bird and teach them to run to the gun's feet. So if they're hunting angle back and deep, then I want to move opposite of the direction they are. Almost like if you're walking a field to pheasant hunt, I want the dog to respond and I want to guide him and try to mold his hunt pattern more so that, okay, that's number one. But as far as if the dog isn't paying attention to that and you want, then my first deal is to stand up. You know, stand up. And my dog's like, oh, okay, he's trying to help me. But if they stand up and they don't understand, then I'll holler, hey. And if I run into dogs that just like have no clue of that, my next thing is to holler and throw a bird. If I'm doing a puppy and they're hunting and I want to help, the best way to do it is throw the bird and then holler, and the dog turns, hears the holler, and then sees the bird in the air. Now sometimes that's tricky to get right, but the hardest person when you're training puppies is the person throwing the birds, so I'm just saying, so there is a way to teach a dog to respond to gunner assistance without running right to the gunner's feet. That's what I try to avoid. And if you think about, hey, get their attention, the dog establishes a hunt and he's starting to reference the gun. See, this is the one thing that I did a class with Stephen Durrance, and I said, all right, I got to ask you this, Stephen. I asked him before. I said, I know at the end of the day, all your guns are concealed. Do you start that way? Because I believe the artificial aspect of all of these sports is everything is in reference to one place that the bird is, a human being either launching or throwing a bird. Whether they're hiding behind a bush, the dogs know they're there. Once they learn how to reference the gun station in reference to the bird and use that and be smart about it, that's the first thing they need to learn. And then hide the guns. Teach them how to use all that information. Some dogs just figure it out on their own, but I believe it's important to teach them that. And so then when you help, they understand what the typical fall area in reference to where the bird came from, in reference to the gun station. So then the helping makes more sense to the dog. Does that make sense? I would, whether you had them in white or they're just in black, but teach them how to figure that pattern out and be smart about how to use the gun and reference it to where the bird's likely to be. And then there's the human scent of the person throwing it. There's the bag of birds that are next to the human. There's the foot scent of the dogs that have previously run. There's the human scent walking out to pick up the bird. And then there's the scent of dragback, and then there's the bird itself. Those are all pieces of information. You more than anybody should have a real understanding. I'm not saying you don't, but I'm saying that those are all the things that they're seeing and smelling. So the quicker they can use all those things to help them locate the bird, other than just the bird itself, the smart dogs get super efficient about it, I mean, some of those good dogs, you'd never have to throw a bird. They could find the bird quicker than the dogs that saw it through the things that I just described. They become so savvy about that. So I would work hard to teach my dogs how to hunt in relationship to the gun before I started to totally hide the guns. And then I think dogs are gonna, like, you get them between the bird and the gun, they're gonna find the bird, whether they know it's there or not. Well, did I answer your question, really?
Yes.
I just took a half hour to do it.
Can the gunners helping create popping because they're waiting for that help?
Well, it's another good question. Yeah, they can. And if I'm doing that to the point and I have to do that, I'm probably doing too hard of marks right now. Can anything? I mean, most of the time when I handle on a mark, I'm handling en route to the fall area, first of all. Because they failed a factor, they've done something that I need to tell them not to do. If they've totally forgotten the bird and they're not doing anything wrong, then I'm more apt to have the gun help.
So on a hunt test, you got to handle to a mark.
You have to handle the bird.
All the way to the mark.
In a field trial, same thing.
Training, I won't do that. I'll handle the area and then let them dig
Right.
it out.
But if if a dog switches, if a dog cheats, if a dog fades with the wind and you want to say, if he runs to run around water, I mean, those are the scenarios that I'm likely to handle on a mark because they've given into the factor and they've run around and I need to tell them, no, I don't want you to do that. Or they're going to go back to an old fall. But can overhelping, I don't know if it'll help them. I suppose it can. The dogs that you see them hunt and then they stop and look at the gun and say, I can't find it, go ahead and help me. Yeah, if I saw that, I'd say I'm doing that too much. And I need to do things to, either I need to ease up on the marks or, maybe I seed the area a little bit. So when they get there, there's more birds out there. They get better at it. But You know, anything we do can cause, there's a flip side. There's a, you know, it's like the thing on the bottom of the drugs that says may cause vomiting and diarrhea. Well, there's a little bit of that in everything we do. I mean, if you're too hard on the line, then, you know, you can create some side effects. If you're not hard enough on the line, and that's, I got to ask you, dude, like this dog beat you to the line, moved on the line. Is that game day behavior? Is that what this dog does in training, and do you not care?
Behavior, and the popping is probably a side effect on that for me, cranking down on too much.
Online.
Once I started getting on that real hard is when I saw his first pop ever. So.
How long ago was that?
4 or 5 months ago. So.
How old? 3?
3.
You're in a funny stage now. This is such a critical stage, this 3-year-old dog, especially a 3-year-old dog that's had a lot of success. You know, I can name 4 dogs that I've been around that have won opens like at 2.5, way before they should have won an open. It was almost ruined a couple of them because we said, now they're open dogs. Now we started training them like they're field champions. And then the sophomore slump, you've heard of that?
Yeah.
That's what you hit there. All of a sudden, now you start doing harder stuff, and now maybe this dog did some of the stuff out of naiveness, and now it's a little harder. Now, I do have to say to myself, when I start letting, I need to let this dog creep because I see the side effects. Well, maybe you should make them not let them creep and do easier setups so they learn not to creep, but they still have success, or do singles, and then like ease your way back into it. But I think at 3 years old, if the linemen are starting to erode, 2 years from now, you're going to say, I've had enough, and you're going to start really cranking down on him to change his behavior. Now it's going to be too late. I would say to myself, 3 years old, let's back off on the difficulty in the field, and if I think that that's creating that. But it's interesting. You'd think like, well, there was nothing on the line but you know what, the dog crept and he was loose and he still popped. Yeah. So like, wait a minute. It wasn't like he was an angel on line because you'd been on him and then he popped. Yeah. He was not an angel on the line and he still popped.
That's why
would be the things I'd say, right? So I'd say like, wait a minute, I got to rethink this. And if he's developing a little bit of a popping thing sometimes in the field, then we can talk about, we talked about it, about that deal I did with Carl about a depopping program. It's probably something I would do. And I'd teach him, you know, and we'll take some time. If you want me to describe it, it'll take a few minutes. But it is it's a procedure that uses the dirt clod drill, but there's a process in the yard to teach the dog to go from a seated position to establish a hunt. And then there's a collar reinforcement that you show them how to do that, so that when that happens and you can do a step and say fetch, and you can use collar pressure to unpop them, and then they learn, you know, I can't sit down, I got to still look. But it's not something that happens overnight, and I'd have to explain it in a little more depth. But, you know, if you just say like, all right, I can't make him sit because he's going to do that, well then pretty soon he's training you.
Well, he's done good at that.
Well, they all do. Because once their negative behavior modifies our expectations, then they're starting, and whether or not that's the initial intent, but pretty soon they'll start to figure it out. You know, they'll start, they're going to experiment with things to do to change things they don't like. And if it's to change your expectations, pretty soon, now, we're not, you know, it's the tail's wagging the dog now.
What about repeating that as a single? Would that
Be fine. I don't know if, I mean, it would be, I would say I wouldn't have a problem with it. It was a peculiar thing. I mean, I don't know, but he did, apparently it's not the first time.
Well, I've never seen it like that.
Because it just like, and that's why I wanted to say like,
The only thing I can maybe think of is he is not used to exposed flyers like that. And I wonder if he got up there.
there was something peculiar when he was around the gunner.
So that was.
But wait a minute, when he gets on the backside of the holding blind, they're exposed. I mean, it's not like,
I understand that. But
so it's like,
environmentally, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was something new. I mean,
Okay.
he has pop, but that was different. So.
I mean,
can't answer that.
obviously he's a wonderful dog, and he's done some. But this is a key stage. This is that you're going out of naiveness, and you're not. You know, this is why the dogs that the average age of dogs qualified for nationals are. I think it's the most of them are usually 6, then 7, then 5, then 8. But 6 and 7 are when it all makes sense usually, at the highest levels. And he's in that age where maybe he did stuff out of raw talent but not true understanding before. And that happens a lot. And that's not a bad thing. It's just, but we need to be aware, like maybe we need to go back and kind of, I would say I would be backing up and kind of doing what I did a year ago. Do what you did to get him to win that qualifying instead of treating him after he'd already won it. Start do some, rebuild some momentum in your training. That's what she looks like she likes this. This one's dead. It's a similar fall. $14. I don't know if you guys are okay, but I'm not happy. These dogs should not be that far forward of the handlers. She didn't move a ton, but she moved on the first one. I mean, she was that far. But she looks good. But if that's the standard you've accepted, then they're not being a bad dog. They're just doing, but. Whew. Pickles says, get out of my way. I got birds to find. Things I'm going to note and like I would be paying attention to. See how far ahead of the handlers. But she sets up there initially, and maybe that's just been. Over by the bird right in there somewhere. Yep, she must have got it. The blind planter's starting to go out.
I didn't line her up good.
Well, it's hard because she's sitting that far ahead of you. Why don't you step into the holding blind and receive her? Just so, I'm not sure she's going to be aware of the blind planter, but that's what you would have to do here.
Here,
So tell me,
here.
so she's out of Bubba, and you've owned her entire life, I gather?
Pardon me?
Have you owned her whole life?
I haven't trained her.
Who trained her?
Most recently, Eric Fangsrud.
Okay,
Done some training with her.
gotcha. Who did her early work?
Alex Drent. And then,
Oh, Alex, okay,
and
all right.
then- And then Mark Henry had her.
Well, I know all the three.
Yeah. And that thing,
All right,
where I say sit and she leaps,
okay.
she does that, and she hasn't been doing it for a while, and now, until last week.
Okay, so remember we are training, and you can, you can at any point you can correct her and deny some of this stuff. But I mean, I think like, wait a minute, this dog. I mean, she's obviously a high quality dog. And I said to myself, I bet you they didn't let her do this initially, move ahead of you that much. Two things, she moved ahead, and then when not just that she moved ahead, but when she delivered the bird, she sat up there on the initial delivery. So that's a heel issue.
Okay.
The other one's a sit issue. There's two issues.
So I wanted her to look a little bit, and so I was trying to get her to move with me, and then
She jumped ahead of you.
yeah.
But it was two things. She jumped ahead of you, and she wasn't next to. See, I want to see their shoulder socket at my knee socket.
So
I don't want their
I
feet
didn't
ahead of my
care-
feet.
This was when the birds were going off.
Okay. And I mean, there was
And
just,
I was trying to move over there, and she was focused out there.
and most of that was because she was ahead of you, and you didn't have the influence that you would have had if she was at your side.
When the birds went off, you thought
And all the above, all the above.
okay, she was too far ahead of me when I
She's creepy, and even coming to line, as you were walking, she's up here instead of in the proper heel position. So I think if you reestablish the rules of what heel and sit mean, you would help your cause. Okay. Blind is planted, and you're on your own when you get to the mat. Good luck. We've got some really nice dogs here. Really nice dogs. But you see, there's an. So let me just tell you, I mean, and I'm just going to only interfere with you a second because it isn't going to matter, and this is where she should be in relation to me. That shoulder, that needs to.
me, I'm moving up too far on her.
Just
So,
well,
okay.
it's not that you're moving up too far on her. She's not heel. I mean, if
well, I mean, my
I mean,
habit is
I find that hard to believe that Eric and all those guys teach their dogs to not be in the real heel position.
it's me who doesn't know.
Well, that's what I'm trying. That's why I'm trying to point it out.
I was
So
getting
so
chewed
step
out
back
with-
and say heel.
I've been getting
Instead of you moving up, I want you to stand right here. I want you to say heel,
heel, sit.
and that's what I want her to do. That's simple. Put a tab on her and make her heel just like that.
think I'm too far up on her?
No, why would you? I mean,
'Cause that's what I've been getting chewed out like that. Corrected.
well, weren't you the one that asked what if you had a two-sided dog? What side would you run this on?
That wasn't me.
She's one-sided.
One second.
Well, okay. So what you can do, she is pointed more at the flyer gunners. Okay. So if we want to move her to the right, take your right foot and come back a little bit. Boom. Now say the word here.
Heel.
Boom. Now you're good. That's all. That's the move you want to. Now she's pointed perfectly. She may not go there, but she's pointed perfectly. Now, go ahead. All right, blow. Make her cast. Now make her wait. Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Then cast. Good. Nice cast. I'd blow right there. Now you got to be sharp here. If she doesn't give you this cast, okay, she gave you a beautiful cast. All right. Nope. Count. Don't be in a hurry to cast. Toot. All right. Count. Wait a little longer. Toot. And blow another whistle. Yeah, she's taking. She's on a little bit of a hair trigger. Here. All right. Blow.
Here.
Okay, you can bring her in some. Here.
Here.
All right.
Here.
Let's bring her down in the flat a little bit, and then now just blow a sit whistle. Most important thing you can do now is make her wait for the cast and not take off. Make sure nobody's moving behind us now. I don't know if she's got a, because we're getting after her for moving. There, she's waiting a little better for you. Okay. One thing I'm going to suggest to her, okay,
This is not like her.
all right, we'll bring her in. Okay. Let's get her in close. Let's bring her in even closer. Okay. Okay, now just make her sit. I would, okay, here's my advice to you. You're going to give her a left-handed toot. Now you move there.
What?
Toot, blow. I'll stay right up. No, okay, just leave her there a second. I want you to, I'm not going to handle her on line. You're going to give a straight, I want to keep her where we can see her good and she can see us. Straight up verbal left back. That's different now. Verbal left back. Toot, that's all right. Just make her wait. Make her wait. Toot. I give her a right hand silent over probably. Okay, you're fine. You're fine. This is not about the cast. The only thing I want to work on is her not taking off on her own. Walk out of silent right. Blow. We're not going to handle her through that point because I want to keep her where I can see her. Straight up left back. Blow. You're going to wait. She may take off here. 1, 2, 3. Walk out of cast. She's toot. Here.
Here.
Stop her. Walk out of silent cast. Good whistle, good whistle. 1, toot. Again, we do not have the greatest background here, so toot.
Here.
We may.
Here.
Did she see it? Okay, well, all right. Well, I mean, you say that's totally out of character, her to autocast like that. The one thing I will say, when I get into an autocast situation, I was fine calling her in, but I wouldn't call her in immediately like you did. Because part of the problem is, I'd blow, make her sit, and then bring her in. And I bring her in so I can bring her into a spot where I can manage her behavior better. Because she was like with you,
Here.
and then
Here.
now whether she couldn't see you well
Sit.
or what, but I don't know. But
Sit.
autocasting is
She's sit. She is really good if she can't see me getting somewhere where she can. I can usually see.
find you.
Yeah, I can usually see.
Well,
her. Even if I, stop her behind a shrub and going like that, I'll
She'll look around and try to find you.
Sit.
Other than just, and again, whether it was the background or something, but even though when we brought her in here, she still wanted to do it, but we got it under control until she got out there again. So, I don't know, but when if I run some multiple blinds with her and I see that, and sometimes dogs go into that pattern for a while. Now, one thing I will say, they're all sit issues. Sometimes on the mat moving. So the compliance of sit means sit until I tell you not to sit is kind of the same thing here as it is out there. And but if this was a random act and it had something to do with just maybe some of that kind of movement, I'm not gonna, but I wouldn't ignore it. I would want to run some multiple blinds and see if she shows that same pattern. And if she does, we'll talk more about, because you know what bird boy blinds are? Doing a series of bird boy blinds that are shorter, that you do multiple blinds, are great for managing stopping mechanics issues, those kinds of things. Autocasting, loopy sits, crooked sits, a lot of those kinds of mechanical issues. You do them a little closer and you do lots of reps, and if it comes up, it's easier to manage.
Okay.
But if it's a one-time thing, well, but I certainly would say, because she was almost, and sometimes it's almost a frantic anxiety, like,
And she's getting pretty wound up back there.
but
All right.
certainly something worth noting. I got to take one quick little break and get rid of some cough. Dog the line. Okay, this is the first handler I've seen come up with a healing stick. I worked for Lardy. He would like, you'd have to do 50 push-ups if you came up without a healing stick. It was mandatory. Connor's doing a great job throwing those flyers. $100. Well, she's kind of betwixt and between, but she's going for the flyer. She nailed the flyer. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Hey, Connor, wait. Tell him to wait. Tell Connor to wait. We haven't picked up the short bird yet. And move to your right. Walk to your right a little bit. Okay, just stop there, Connor. Just stop there a second. Where? This dog picked up the flyer second, so we haven't picked up the short bird. Ooh. Larry, you didn't do a very good job of line in there. Because you kind of mismarked with the bird. She's hunting the first fall. Call her back. You need to do a better job. That's where you pointed her. Now we can have the gun. If you think, well, let's see what happens here. No, we'll just wait a second. No, don't send her too quickly. Step up a little bit. Evan, stand up. Evan, stand up. Just stand up and stay right there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. If I think I've done something to kind of give them the wrong message and I think it's my fault, I'm going to, like, just having that gun stand up. Now, she might have. Okay, now go ahead and plant the blind, Connor. Now go ahead and plant the blind. Okay, go ahead in the holding blind there, Larry. You're running, you're doing a little too fast. You're a little bit, you're kind of excited and you just need to slow your thought pattern down. And one thing when you're like this and you're looking at her, you need to look up and say, wait a minute, I don't have her pointed in the right spot.
I was looking at the wrong bush.
Okay.
Evan was over here whenever
Don't let.
Get in here. Come on, kennel up, sit.
Huh. So, another thing I was taught a long time ago, they're only going to be as good as we are. We got to take our errors out of this, Some of those judgment errors, mismarking, not knowing the rules, not knowing the instructions, We owe it to them. We work too hard to make them be obedient. We need to do our part. Okay, Larry, come on up.
Heel. Here. That bird. Heck.
Good. You're gonna need a good whistle there, Larry. Excellent whistle. We need a left-handed cast. Ooh, toot. I'd go silent. I'd step. There's too big a risk her digging right. She gave you, come on, come on, come on. A little slow there, Larry. I think I could. Come on. I want you to go silent. I want you to walk with your cast a little bit more. Let's see if she can see you. Keep moving. Do it again. Yeah, you may have to throw a voice in. If you can get her to see you, then see there's been a couple handlers slow on. I mean, they were in a position to get the blind. They just were a little slow on the whistle. He may be in a tough spot for her to, because you're right in front.
Here.
Is that one of our people, or is that just somebody coming in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't want to. I think he sees what's going on. When you blow that sit whistle, don't blow come in immediately. Make her sit first. Okay, now slow down, Larry. Slow down. Once you get her stopped, slow down. Verbal right hand back. You're like blowing a sit whistle and a come in almost simultaneously. You're going too fast. You got to slow the tempo down so you can clear your head. You did that a little bit on your sending, and you get excited and you blow and you cast and you blow and you cast, and it's kind of you got to be passionate but not panicky. And there was just a franticness there so you just got to slow down. And you got to.
Come on. Oh, yeah.
It's hard. And I'll tell you what, I've had a lot of people, especially when we've done some of the bigger workshops, that some of the people, even the experienced handlers, said, I was more nervous here than I was running the National. All right, dog to line. Watch her now. Watch. Because she's starting to want to move. Wait. 44. So you want to count to 2,000 after the bird hits the ground before you move her off the bird.
Okay.
You're teaching her to head swing. Okay.
Nolly.
She wants the middle bird. I'd let her have it. Well. But I wouldn't make her get it now, though. But she wanted to look left. I mean, and maybe she just remembered that middle bird. But okay, well, you're by the flyer now. If a dog happened to take a short dead bird underneath the flyer on its own, even though I didn't think it's hard to be mad at him for it, right? It's more common. She may have a wing over her. Okay, there she goes. More common for you to want to send for the short dead bird and her want to get the flyer, the other way around. That's a different deal. Now you got to talk her into that short bird. What's she doing over there? She looked like she had she pooping? Okay. She had a wing. I thought she might have had a wing over her eye for a second. I can't see her from this angle. you want to point her a little more left than you are. Now a little more right. You got to talk her into the middle here. Sit. Now, there's her. Just slow down. Step up just a skosh. And I'll pull her a little bit to the right here. Here. That's your best look yet.
Nolly.
Now she may be going long again, so if you see her take, yeah, that's a handle. Now I'd blow a come in and then step with it. Beep beep, toot, toot, blow, stop her. Go ahead and do it again. She's a little bit right of it still. Toot. Left angle back with voice. Back.
Back.
She may not come out in the right. Okay, there she is. Toot. Now a little soft. Tweet tweet. Tell her go ahead and hunt. There you go. And plant the blind, please. Plant the blind. You may want to go ahead and step into the blind here while they're planting the blind so she doesn't watch the plant. Did you tell me, did you say what breeding she was?
It's a small breeder from Michigan. Ryan Markle. 3 Points is his name of his kennel, but kind of the nicest dogs a couple generations back are Small Craft Advisory.
Oh, yep.
And,
Yep.
Maple
Gary
Creek
Unger's
Maggie
dog.
May.
I had him, a little rough, that was his name. Who's the other one?
Maple Creek Maggie May.
Was that yellow? Was that,
I don't know.
You know, I think who that was? That was David McMahon's dog. Yeah, yellow female. Okay, here we go. Flyer guns, if you wouldn't mind sitting. Okay.
Back.
Be sharp here. Toot. Yep. You're at a key point here now. Step to your left with it. Then don't toot. Keep the whistle in your mouth the whole time. Walk. Now wait a minute. Hold on a minute here. I want you to give more of an angle, not so much a straight up. Step with it and give a 45-degree angle silent left. There you go. Blow. Now this is your verbal cast. Blow a sit whistle. She's not looking at you. Verbal right back. Back.
Back.
Toot. Yeah. Go verbal left back. No, don't blow come in. She came in on her own. Don't blow come in. I know you can't see her well. See, she's in there hunting looking for a bird. Toot. Verbal right back. Okay, wait a minute. Slow down. Slow down. Right angle back silent. Toot. Verbal left back.
Back.
Okay, blow. Now you're in a good spot. Keep your tempo slow. Silent, slight angle. Blow. Walk out of left angle back. Just walk it out. Assume she can see you. Keep going. I don't know if she... what do we do here? Do we call her in or do we add voice? Anybody see her from that angle? She's still sitting there? Okay, blow a sit whistle. Give a left angle back with voice.
Back.
She could show up anywhere, so be ready for it. Toot. All right. Silent, right angle back. Go ahead, walk it out. Keep going until she goes. Blow. Left over, silent. Blow. There you go. So, okay, you finish. Go ahead. Are you you're a duck hunter?
Yeah.
You ever hunt dove?
Yes.
She's like shooting a dove on a windy day. You got to lead her.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
When you cast her, you need to blow. You need to give time
Okay.
for the whistle to hit her. You were blowing at where you wanted her to sit. Well, you're shooting behind her.
Okay.
You understand that?
Yep.
That makes sense? Well, welcome to a fun game. So, do you know where River Oaks is? Over on Torrance Avenue? Over.
Yep. Yeah.
Did you know River Oaks Corky was from there?
I did not know.
That's where he was. That's why he was named River Oaks Corky. He, John Trapaz, he worked at Donnelly Printing. He was the guy that owned Corky. Quite a story.
So what advice do you have if you send for the middle one and the dog blows through it and gets the flyer, and you come back and you have to get it again? Do you have any advice on how to make that a little easier or more successful?
Well, if I'm training, I probably am not going to let that happen if I send for that short bird. But it happens.
Yeah.
You know, here's my key. When in doubt, get them to where the holding blind is. Find the gunner. So if that's the instance, I may try to talk them more into the gunner station. If they can find a gunner, hopefully they can find a bird. But
Did you use word cues here for any of those?
did she? I didn't hear any specific cues. You know, this dog, I think the first time when she looked left and he pulled, she said, I thought to myself, she wants that middle bird. And when he sent, she almost went for it, but she got that betwixt and between. She was halfway between the middle bird and the flyer. And then when she sent for the middle, I think there was some disconnect on what she had got.
Yeah. I thought, so when I first lined her up for the flyer, I thought she was looking at that one, but I thought I got her off of it and on the long one, and then I don't know what.
Yeah,
her
you know, I
intent
mean,
was.
your decision there is like, all right, do I reheel her and I defer and I go for the middle bird? Because if you get and this test is easier if you get the middle bird second. But getting the middle bird second isn't always, the best jobs that have happened have been, most of them gotten the middle bird second. You know, and you start to look at that pattern and say, all right, if I've got the control and the discipline and the training to get that dead bird, that middle bird second with that flyer on the ground, this is probably the time to do it. But it takes training and practice and a lot of teamwork.
So, I've seen a couple of dogs go for the flyer after the go bird, go for it second, and it did just what this dog did. They kind of they wanted to go to the middle bird and they got in between, and both dogs went over that first little hump, and then they did a little loop-de-loo right there, and then continued on to the long
And you don't know if what they think, what their perception is of what just happened.
Yeah, but I mean, as a judge in a hunt test situation at that point,
I'm just going to draw what I see. The dog got the right end bird. It wasn't a switch. It just hunted a little short. But it usually takes care of itself, because if they really thought they got it, then getting that middle bird is not easy.
Right, exactly.
And that's most of the time what happens is they either
They
just,
got it. Yeah.
because this dog just went like, no, I've been there.
but in a training scenario, you know, you sent it for if you sent it for this middle bird, and you let it do that, and you let it spin around and then go deep, aren't you teaching the dog?
Yeah, I'm not saying I've never done it, but almost never.
You would blow the whistle.
And I'd stop them, I'd recall them, have the gun stand up and rethrow. I'd do something to have it turn out well, but I probably wouldn't that's one of, now, I said, if I thought I sent for the flyer, but maybe I didn't do a good job and they want the middle bird, that I'm okay with letting them get, because it's like, it's not a behavior. But if I'm demanding you go for the middle bird and you're saying I ain't doing it, I'm probably not going to let you do it.
Or they tell you they're going for the middle bird,
And then they change their mind,
the
right?
flyer.
And it happens all the time.
Yeah.
And on game day, you know, you got to figure out how to get them back in there.
If we're seeing this pattern developing, don't you think those dogs on the way to the middle bird, they got a hell of a visual suction of that gun
Oh,
action out
that's,
there. And so
oh,
they're going through cover and they break out and they say,
all of a sudden they see it.
let's go.
Yep. I'm with you. That's why I set it up the way I did. Because I knew it'd bring up a lot of, you know, teamwork, decisions, different scenarios. You know, it's the $1 million question. It's like the meaning of life. You're gonna ask this question on what bird to send for as long as you're in any of these games. It happens at every national. There's always a scenario like this. You know, is this the time to get the fly or get the middle bird? Do you take the candy off the table? I mean, there's not a right or wrong answer to it. There really isn't. But it's, you know what? If you can secondary select when you need to, and if you've got the sophistication and teamwork and you can execute it, when it counts, because there's certain times where it is, without a doubt, the only really successful way to do a test, you need to practice it.
And being able to watch all the dogs in front of you run
Yeah.
in a trial, you know, they may change. When you're dog 10 and you see 8 out of 10.
I said,
on
well,
that pattern, it's
what
time
makes
to
me think
change
my
your
dog's going to
plan.
be different, right?
You gotta change your
I got to try something different. Yeah, you're right. Good. Why don't you go over in honor?
Heel. Get back. Heel. Heel. Good. Here. Heel. 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 Heel.
So remember what I said? Like some dogs, once that dog healed, I might do the test from right where she finally healed to instead of moving back up. Just to, you know, there she finally agreed to heal. Maybe you do the marks from there instead. She's a .44. Yeah. Take your time a little bit. You're doing the right thing. This is where the use of the hand and no hand are more significant, like the softer send. She's going to get this. The softer no hand send, that easy cue on that particular bird right there becomes really profound to dogs. Looks familiar, right, Renee? That's the kind of thing where this looks a little bit like your girl. You know, real powerful, wants to sit ahead of you. Some of the same kind of things you're managing. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I think.
Figure it out. Oop, I think she did. Well, this was kind of a normal-ish flyer, not real long. It's hard to tell the angle of it, whether it's angled back or real flat, but I think she just got the bird. Go ahead and plant the blind. Do you want to go into the holding blind, or do you want to just turn her? So you don't have to. Do you want me to give you your cane? She looks fun. I don't know why. She really is. I can see that.
My other dog's out of Ford. Eric runs with Sit.
Yeah, this bird's kind of shot up pretty good. Let me. I think this bird.
Heel. Oops,
I'll get it.
you don't watch that. Sit.
No, it's just bloody. Your other dog. What'd you say about?
I've got another one that's out of Ford, and Eric runs her. Most of the time. Heel.
So do you, like on your handling, do you need your support, your deal, or are you good? Okay. Okay. See, I'm not fond of using good here. In other words, I don't want her to think she knows where the blind is. I want to get her in a blind frame. She's just done marks. This dog's been good as almost telling her she thinks she knows where it is. Hey, Flyer Guns, maybe would you mind sitting real quick? She thinks you're, oh, okay. Or just go ahead right there if you have to. All right. The Flyer Gun stood up a second. I thought, she was expecting another mark being thrown. Okay. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I know you have a little, I'm just going to set her out here and I'm going to have you cast her. Okay. Come here. Here, sit. Blow a sit whistle.
No.
I don't want to get into a no-go thing and I don't, here, sit. Give her a right hand verbal back. All right, now finish the blind. Okay.
Good.
This needs to be verbal because she was almost going to pop. If you're going right, make it verbal. Even if you're going left, go verbal. Now you go more into silent, normal casting. Go left. Toot. Stop her. Okay, slow down. Left-handed cast. Yeah, just watch your footing there.
She went before me.
Well, actually she went with your step. Okay. Okay, we're going to do a break. I want to.
So the no-go.
Well, that's something I want to talk. Okay, I got a couple thoughts. But let me tell you one thing that I would just want to point out before you do that. Now, you're going to have to be real conscious of this because of your, because your difficulty in moving. So go ahead and get the bird and then let me show you. And the reason I'm standing in front because I want to demonstrate. But this is good for everybody.
Sit.
Preparing to give a cast. You want to think about where I want to have my weight distributed when the dog turns around. One cast you gave a left, but you went like this, and she turned the wrong way. And part of the reason you went like this is because you were trying to shift your weight to this foot to be able to step, but you did it when she was looking at you. So here's what I do.
I cannot balance on this side.
Okay, so all the more reason you can't balance on your left leg. So what you have to practice. But can you do this? Because you did it at the end. Can you put your weight on this foot and do this? Can you make that move or something like that? Or if you can't, you may have to handle with a cane. So in other words, if you're going to give this cast, you can't put all the weight on this leg. Can you do this, essentially? Is your right leg better? But let's talk about, this isn't just you though. Anytime I blow and I know I'm going to be giving, you're right in the corridor and you're pretty much, but you can't afford the dog to turn the wrong way. I mean, right? You're over that point, you're pretty much dead in line, but if they dart this way, you're going to lose sight of them. And you don't want to give a big, huge cast. When I blow, as I blow, I shift my weight to this foot. As I blow, before the dog turns around. I'm just going to exaggerate it a little bit. Beep, I shift my weight, so my movement is this, or this. It's not equal foot and then this. This is what happens if you're a little teetery and your weight is like this and you got to push off this leg. It's easy to do this and shift your torso the opposite way and the dog goes on the initial movement. The only way to guard against it is blow, shift your weight as they're blowing, and I almost go on the tippy toes on my opposite. So it's this, or this, or this. But it's because you're pushing off the leg you're going to the opposite leg that you're trying to cast towards. Does that make sense? So try to figure out a way, either with if you're going to, now you probably can, because you did remember the one time at the end she said she went on my movement? Yeah. You went like this, and she saw your movement, and she's trying to comply. Sometimes they don't see your arm even. They handle off your whole body. All the more reason to make sure all the movement you make is in the direction you want them to go. You don't give them what's called false motion, which is motion opposite of the direction you want to cast. And so that's why it's so critical that you find a way to, you practice, beep, you shift your weight, so your move, it's this. You can make that move 100 times in the mirror. So if it's hard to push off this leg, you got to figure out a way to do, but the weight is all on the leg especially when people find their feet close together and they want to give a cast, you get a lot of this. This is where you're going to say they're only going to be as good as we are. So we got to give them the information that they can understand. And a lot of it is taking some of our false motion and figuring out, all right, how can I make only productive movement, not confusing unproductive movement? It's a big thing, and I'll tell you, there's a lot of different versions. Some people will go like this. They'll try to go straight. But all the dog sees is their torso going this way, their upper body, and they turn the wrong way. And you think, oh, they gave me a cast refusal. No, they just misunderstood what it is you said because of your, body movement. But another big one is that going back and forth before you cast. Sometimes people do, they'll go like this and they'll dip. There's a lot of different versions, but the best thing you can do is try to take some of that unproductive movement out and figure a way how to do that. And you're going to have to plan it a little bit. Like I said, Scott did. Scott learned to he only could cast with one arm. So he had to blow, and as he blew, he turned like this. He couldn't use his left arm, so he just went. But if he blew and then went like this and then cast, sometimes it just didn't work. So he had to kind of plan ahead. And there's a lot to think about. I got to blow the whistle. I'm going to give a left. But it's going to be eventually almost like driving a stick shift. You know when to push the clutch and when to do all this. So you blow, you shift. So all your movement is, am I going to go straight up? Am I going to go with a little angle? Do I need to make a big step? And if I have to kind of shift a cane from one end to the other to be able to create that support so I can give the productive movement, then you need to learn to practice that. Plenty of people have handled with support things, and successfully. Just takes practice. All right. Oh, so you said she did that the other day?
The other day.
Okay.
We did a big water blind, and she no-go.
So the one thing that I didn't, okay, so you came up, you picked up the marks, really good, and you went here and you go, good, and she perked her ears up, and just about that time, the flyer gun, I don't know if they stood up, and she looked at the flyer guns in it, and in my mind, she says, I think she thinks they're going to throw another bird for her. And when you said back, she said, what do you mean back? Now, if she had never done it before, I'd say that was definitely it. Did you communicate to her adequately that you were doing a dead bird? But if she started, now, has she ever had a pattern of not going on a blind?
It seems like if we run a big blind and I didn't like things about it, if I rerun it, she knows.
Recalled her?
She knows. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so.
I think some of it's confidence and
Yeah,
confusion.
but we do have to, that's why I put her in front and said, all right, we need to make her go now, and then we need to talk about what we do. Right. There's things in drill work, wagon wheel drills, no drills will maybe bring it out, because you've recalled them a few times for not jumping over a log, for example. But you've got to create the atmosphere that it happens and teach her that, no, go means go. And maybe right in the midst of a test, maybe this isn't exactly the right time. So I put her in a spot where we could make her get her to go and finish it and then talk about it. So But if you start to see a pattern of it, you know, obviously it's something you got to get put behind you. And do you do work with Eric some? Are you going to work with him in the near future?
Oh, yeah, we train together all the time.
So, have you talked to him about it?
I talked to Eric,
Oh, this Eric.
this Eric, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know why. We were talking about Eric Fangsroot at one point, so I was thinking like, all right, that's Renee that's going up there. Okay. Well, then I'd like to talk to Eric and brainstorm about it a little bit. And then I don't want to dodge the question. I just want to give you good information. Okay. We good?
Oh, yeah, stepped on.
Good looking guy, athletic dog here.
Sit.
This dog's weight is ideal. Okay, you signal when you're ready. Step up just a smidge. There you go. Tells the dog to gives him some information. 1001. Now step up again a little bit. Nice and steady. 52. No movement. Gave a little bit of a yelp on the send. Two-sided dog. Looks like you got a good look in there. Under the arc. All right. 2 down, 1 to go.
Your turn.
Yeah, it felt to me like you could have stepped up just a little bit. The look you had was essentially right at the gun, and kind of by, you know, you get those converging marks, and sometimes they want to open them up just a little bit. That's all. I mean, not bad, but just, I know you wanted them to go to the left of the flyer guns. A typical routine, as I say, identify the gun influence to the bird. So come in, looks at the gun, and in this instance, I'd step forward, which shifts their attitude and their weight a little bit left, and that's the communication that we typically do. Now, why don't you, we're going to go into the holding blind over here while they plant the blind. But all in all, pretty nice set of marks, huh? Jumped, excellent middle bird. And not a bad flyer. Went behind the gun, but didn't spend any time back there. What's this dog's breeding?
His father, his sire is Bayou Bay's Bodego, which is out of Candlewood Shadow.
Oh.
And
Hawkeye's Candlewood Shadow?
No. Yeah.
Did you plant the blind yet?
Yeah.
We need to plant the blind. I trained Shadow. I know him well.
Oh, you knew Shadow.
Yeah, I knew him intimately.
And then
I stood next to him about 5 days a week for 5 years.
Hawkeye's Candlewood Shadow. Here.
Marvin Blunt's dog, wonderful dog.
And then his mother's is out of Mighty Mouse.
Oh, out of Mickey. Well,
Good Ideas Texas Scratch. Yeah.
Obviously I trained and helped train Mickey, and I trained Shadow quite a bit. Let's let him get back to the flyer before
Oh, I'm sorry.
Brian planted back. No worries.
Here. Sorry, baby. I'm nervous.
You're doing great. Well, you know what? When you quit being nervous is when you quit running dogs. If you're not nervous, you're not into it. Okay, we're ready for you. Pay close attention to this dog's healing mechanics. They're really solid. I mean, that's right where I want to see a dog. See, she has a lot more influence on this dog than when they're ahead of you. She starts to move forward. He responds to it. Be careful now. There you go. Beautiful cast. If you're going, which hand you going with? Make it verbal, whatever you do. Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. Now you can go literal silent. Beautiful. We can do it. Go ahead and go voice with it. Back. This dog's trying to be good. He's on the edge. Walk out of silent. Yep. Toot. Again. Now wait a little bit and then repeat that cast with a nice broad step. Ooh. Yeah, he's a little influenced by the flyer. Okay, there you got it. Not influenced enough to break loony, but he wasn't quite convinced. Okay, he's on point. He said, okay, I see the duck. Okay. Very nice. You've done a nice job with this guy.
Here.
I mean, he's...
Good boy. Here.
He said, did I do good, Mom? Cool. Do you have any questions or anything? No. I mean, I don't have a lot of comments. I mean... Your timing on your whistles were good? You could see he started to get on the edge of being bad. He got just deep of the flyer and, he got a little left. And like the one time he kind of started not to move, it was like, I really want to go over there, but she's telling me to go here. And she kind of regained the composure. Did you make any corrections of any sort?
I did not.
I'm not saying you should have. I was just wanting to know.
I did not.
Well, very nice. Why don't you go over and honor? Cool. I mean, I did not expect this many dogs to be able to do this triple. Tempted. I mean, it's been a real uniform group of dogs. And nice dogs. All right, dog to line. Yeah, our first 3 dogs were yellows, and now we got another one here. Okay, Mike. Okay, here's one thing I want you to do. I want you to stop. Heel. Don't move forward again until she sits. She's got to sit. Now you're going to move. Don't just get her to come back and immediately go ahead, because you're just going to encourage her to jump ahead of you again. So once you step back and make her heel, make her stabilize and sit, and then when I move forward, I say heel, which gives her permission to move. Just say it quietly and you can proceed.
Sit. Heel.
Remember the flyer shot first. And pull her a little bit. Here. Okay, good. Because I want to make sure she sees a flyer. You signal when you're ready for the next one. Watch her now. I want you to spend your time watching her. Here's my suggestion. You back up a minute and say heel. Make her come back to you. Again, heel with a nick. All right, now we're going to signal. Sit! You see when I said the word sit? It's when she started to move. 20. I don't want to re-heel them after they've crept. I want to teach them not to creep. So I want to catch them in the initiation of the movement and tell them not to move by using the command they disobeyed, which is sit. Versus letting them creep and then correcting them on heel. Does that make sense? If you're going for the middle bird, I want you to step up a little bit. If you're going for the flyer, you're fine. want to influence a little harder at the bird, because the friendlier spot is under the arc of that bird. Okay, that's all right. She's hunting a little short. She's got the idea of a short bird. Let's just, but I'm not going to let her break for the flyer. Handle. Toot. First thing I want to do, I want you to blow a come-in whistle. Toot. Nick. Blow again with a nick. Now blow a come-in whistle. She does it. That's all right. Okay, bring her in a little more and then stop her right there. Now we're going to handle her the bird. I blew a come-in because she didn't want to cut. She was, all her momentum was back towards the flyer. Silent, left over. Good chance she's going to dig back. But no. Be ready to blow. Blow. Blow, come in and step to your left. Well, perfect. Okay. Ooh, okay. Toot. Come in. And one, toot. You can nick there. Blow, come in. All you're correcting her for is not coming in on a come in whistle. And she should get the bird right there. Ooh. Okay, now you're going to let her. All right. She was right in line with it. She just, that dog made a couple passes, identified, like, I know this bird's in this zone, and said, screw it, I'm going for the flyer. And I said, no, you're not going to go for the flyer.
But a lot of them have, right?
Not a lot, but that was a situation where it was an easy read. Cat did a nice job of stepping up, and the dog had a night started for that bird. Now you're going to talk her into there a little bit. Get her to look at that gunner. Now you can tell her, Mark, good. See, she don't send her yet. No, step up just a little more. Hey, Eric, stand up. Just stand up, Eric. All right, put your hand down and send her. We corrected her in that zone, and she was take one step towards your bird, Eric. Eric, help her. Hey. You know, we made some corrections in there. So I'm not going to interpret that other than the dog said, I didn't belong over there. I'm a little worried about it. I think we got what we wanted to out of that middle bird. And that one, I think, I didn't want to have, her just go out here and all the shenanigans. That was a better way to manage that. And just leave all the emphasis on two things. And the corrections only happened on the dog's failure to come in on a come-in whistle. There wasn't any correction for her going for the flyer. When I stopped her, the only correction was the whistle. When you blew, I said, this dog didn't come in because she wants to hunt. Blew a come in, the dog took off opposite direction to go. That's when the correction happened. Then she came in, cast her left. Cat did a nice job of putting her in there. She got up on the road. She was still thinking, maybe I can get to that flyer from this side. She blew a come in, dog went back again. Whistle, nick, blew a come in, she got the bird. So that's, may not have been what you intended to work on, but it's what you ended up working on. And it's good control and that's a real common scenario. And sometimes you accomplish two things there. Well, maybe three things. One is you told the dog you're going to get the bird you left for. Two, when I blow a come-in whistle, you're going to come in. And three, learning to comply and handle on a mark when you really don't want to handle, you want to look for a bird. And a lot of times it's the lessons that you end up working on that are better than what you thought you were going to work on. Okay, let's go ahead and run the blind. She said, look at all those ducks sitting there I want to grab. Sit. So we'll take those away from you. I don't have to worry about fire ants for a while, do I? Okay, now get her tell her dead bird. And you're going to want to pull her to the right a little bit. No, pull her to the right a little bit. I don't want her looking right at the flyer gunners. Here, say the word here. A little more. And one more time, here. All right, Now your spine is perfect. Dead bird. And now send her on back. Okay, now be ready when, now. Now, you're going to give a left angle silent, but if she goes straight back, you're going to blow immediately. Blow. Good whistle. Excellent whistle. Repeat the exact same cast. Keep moving. She's thinking like, I really, okay. Toot. Repeat the cast. Did she, I thought she stopped. Walk the cast out again. I don't know if she can see us or not. Well, give it anyways. Doesn't mean she, if you, did she, guys over there, is she sitting there? Keep moving. There you go. Be ready now. I'm going to toot. Now this is a silent leftover. Toot. Wait, wait, wait. Same cast. She toot. Here.
Here.
Bring her in a little bit. She actually went over by that other marker. Okay, toot. There you go. Okay, now walk the cast out. Good. Blow. Good whistle. Right angle back silent. This would be a right over silent. Not yet, not yet. Yeah, she kind of just toot. Wait. Low right over. Almost, there you go. Keep moving till she goes. She's thinking like, keep moving again. I don't know if she's looking at the flyer gunners or. Okay, blow a sit whistle. Toot. Now we got to blow a come in. Beep, 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 beep. I think that's going to get your bird right there. Okay, so here's your lesson. Here's the rule of thumb. Don't ever assume they can't see you. I mean, if you could tell they stopped, half the time, it's like you've been in a duck blind. You know, I can see pretty good here, even though you can't see them. Also, your arms are taller than your eyeballs. So when you walk a cast out, you just exaggerate the motion and walk with it. I mean, she was just a few feet offline, but if, you know, at that point, you've got to just continue your movement and the motion in the direction you want to go, and your last resort is to throw a voice in. But no telling what happens when you throw the voice in, but you may have, but I say it's your last resort. But the first thing you do is don't assume. I can't tell you how many times I've come out smelling like a rose in those situations where they, oh shit, I'm in trouble. I don't know if they can see me. I can't really tell where they are. You knew when you blew the whistle. You could tell they were in the act of sitting. So you first of all, you want to assume where they are. You want to keep the same cadence you've been giving, and then just exaggerate the cast with, you know, more arm wavement. But if they're like this, and all they see is you walking this way, and they can just see your arm above the horizon, you can salvage it. And she came out almost perfectly on line. Okay, she looks neat, and you're gonna learn a lot from her.
Oh yes, we are in the terrible threes.
No, you're in a good place.
Yep.
You're right where you should be. Good dogs make good handlers. They teach you a lot. Why don't you stay here in honor? Okay, come on down then.
Heel, 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 heel. Good. Heel. 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 Sit. Sit. Marcus.
1001, 1002. That's the cadence you need to have. He was pushing her off that bird. 2000 count after the bird hits. Number 12. Important, I mean, that's one of the things you're going to you always battle is head swinging. So you just don't want to encourage them to, you want them to stare at the bird, look at it, watch it, and not move until you tell them it's okay to move on to the next bird.
Heel. 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 Sit. Heel. Heel. What?
Got it? I'm assuming she's going to, there she is. There you go. Got the bird, I think. Yep. Okay, we got the middle bird to get, so don't plant the blind quite yet. Two down, one to go. Two down, two to go, I guess. You got the blind too, don't you?
Heel. 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 Heel.
Yeah, get her back, get her back.
Heel.
Heel.
Heel. Heel. Heel. Heel.
She says, I really want to grab that flyer again.
Heel. Sit.
You want me to take that bird from you? Yeah, because we got to get her looking left. She's, step up a little more, Bill. A little bit more. Get her to square up. All right, now if you want to. That's actually not a. All right, let's hold on a minute. Yeah, let's. She didn't stop at the old fall, but she. Wait, she over. Okay, now I want you to stop her. Stop her with a whistle. I want you to call her back. Here. We're going to have the gun step out. I want to get a better shot at that. Make her sit. Toot. I would blow a sit whistle, and then Evan, I want you to step out. Step out, Evan.
Heel. 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 Heel.
Part of it starts, she's
Heel.
the mechanics of getting him just to work with you right here. Because all of this is complicating his efforts to get the middle bird.
Heel. 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 Fox, heel. Sit.
Okay, Evan, I want you to wave your arms just a little bit. That's good.
What?
You talked about gunner help. I mean, there's a version of it right there. I kind of let this play out because it looked like maybe we had one dog kind of do this and go around the backside. But, Bill, I think the biggest thing I saw was, just your challenge to get her to heel.
Yeah, and getting lined up.
Right. Because that just, when you're spending all your efforts just trying to get him to heel, you're taking away from their memory. Okay, now you can either turn away or go into the holding blind. He's going to put the blind up.
Heel. Heel. Hold.
I don't know if you guys, well, it depends on whether you don't mind sitting in the sun or not, but it may not be worth your effort to completely move the tents and reset them up. We're just going to go over by near that last truck with the cap on it. The black, is that a Chevy or Ford? Looks like a Chevy. Somewhere right over in there. We may have to move some of those vehicles this way to do it, but because I had a lot of hot air, we've talked a lot, we'll want to get going on that pretty quick. I'm either going to do a water double or a single and a I don't think I can get a double and a blind in it. I'll keep you guys I'll cut into your drinking time. You ready?
Yeah.
Come on down, Bill.
Heel. Heel.
You know, it was said it's all won and lost in the 5-foot circle right here. You know, just all those kinds of things. The more you can refine that. Toot. Yeah, we're going to put her into that cover a little bit. Toot. Well, she's where we need to be. Now I'd go left, though. Be ready. Don't let her curl behind there. Toot. Walk out a left angle. Yeah, okay, there you go. Do we need to kick? Okay, now we kick her where we can see her, and now we'll finish this thing. That was an excellent decision on that whistle, Bill. Yeah, there you go. Now this is the red zone, don't. Okay, very nice. Very nice, Bill. You gonna feed her tonight?
What luck.
No, that wasn't luck. She went, that was our last dog. That's our last dog. You could tell the way she left. She left running a blind. You know, medium pace, kind of thoughtful, and you blew some good whistles.
So on this, really was, you think for this middle one was my line manners? And
Well, it was hard, you know, because she had just had the flyer and she was kind of looking in your hand. And the deal happened when, if you could have just said heel and got her to come into the heel position, and you know, you said it 8 or 9 times and you never really, and when you finally got it, it was hard to tell. Her spine was like this, and you're trying to get the whole package: base of the tail, middle of the shoulder blades, tip of the nose in alignment. So I work real hard, and I would like the hole I'm looking for. I'd work the mat where the hole I'm looking for is going to be right here. This is the sweet spot on that bird right here.
so that would have been with my scouting to see where I needed to have her.
Right, so you're gonna where could you stand on the mat? Where is it gonna be the easiest opportunity for you? I think right there, exactly what I think. When I looked at it, and so, I'll tell you, I called it the first look. I'm the dog, I'm coming in with the flyer. I'm just, right in here is when you need to go heel and get her to swing in. And so her first look is at that sand mound. When she comes around, and she's got to come in and heel, and you're going to boom. And if, depending on where her first look wants to be, if she wants to look this way, you're going to step forward, because that's going to push her a little left. If she wants to look this way, you're going to step backwards a little bit. But you're going to try to find the sweet spot to get right in this little hole here.
I see, yeah.
But it happens on the delivery.
Right.
You can practice that by doing some wagon wheel and working on, just working on that, you know, and it's more complicated when they got a bird and she's got a fresh bird and she wants to, but this is, you know, I could tell she's a team player out there.
Yeah.
Get that, work on that a little bit. You'll be